The revelation of the Quran. One of the greatest miracles attributed to the Prophet Muhammad is the revelation of the Quran itself. Unlike other prophets, whose miracles were often physical acts, the Quran is seen as an ongoing, living miracle. It was revealed over 23 years and is viewed as inimitable in its language, depth, and wisdom. The Arabs, at the time of Muhammad, were highly skilled in poetry and rhetoric, but they could not produce anything like the Quran, despite being challenged to do so. Miraculous aspect, the Quran's linguistic style, its preservation over centuries, and its ability to speak to diverse audiences across time and cultures are all considered miraculous. Furthermore, its content includes scientific facts, historical knowledge, and prophecies that were unknown at the time.
Hello, ChatGPT. Can you explain to me some of the key miracles of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Please explain to me some of his miracles, because I feel like a lot of people, they're just not familiar with what his miracles were, what was going on, and what was basically so miraculous about him, and what basically brought him into prophethood.
Absolutely. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, performed several miracles, but many people may not be familiar with them compared to the miracles of other prophets, like Moses or Jesus. These miracles, known as Mukjizat, are considered by Muslims as divine signs that confirmed his prophethood. Here are some of the key miracles attributed to him. 1. The revelation of the Quran. One of the greatest miracles attributed to the Prophet Muhammad is the revelation of the Quran itself. Unlike other prophets, whose miracles were often physical acts, the Quran is seen as an ongoing, living miracle. It was revealed over 23 years and is viewed as inimitable in its language, depth, and wisdom. The Arabs, at the time of Muhammad, were highly skilled in poetry and rhetoric, but they could not produce anything like the Quran, despite being challenged to do so. Miraculous aspect, the Quran's linguistic style, its preservation over centuries, and its ability to speak to diverse audiences across time and cultures are all considered miraculous. Furthermore, its content includes scientific facts, historical knowledge, and prophecies that were unknown at the time. 2. The night journey, Isra and Miraj. One of the most famous miracles of the Prophet Muhammad is the Isra and Miraj. According to Islamic tradition, the Prophet was taken on a miraculous journey in a single night from Mecca to Jerusalem. This part is known as the Isra. From Jerusalem, he ascended through the 7 heavens to meet the previous prophets and ultimately stood in the presence of God. This part is called the Miraj. Miraculous aspect. This event is considered miraculous because of the supernatural nature of the journey, which would have been impossible by human means in such a short time. It's a momentous event in Islamic history, confirming Muhammad's prophethood and solidifying important aspects of Islamic worship, such as the establishment of the 5 daily prayers. 3. The splitting of the moon. Another miracle commonly associated with the Prophet is the splitting of the moon. According to Islamic tradition, the disbelievers of Mecca asked Muhammad for a sign to prove his prophethood. In response, God split the moon into 2 distinct parts and then rejoined them. Miraculous aspect. The splitting of the moon is seen as a direct supernatural act that defied the laws of nature and was witnessed by the people of Mecca. It was a visible physical miracle that left onlookers in awe. The event is briefly referenced in the Quran. The hour has come near, and the moon has split in 2. Quran 54:1. Lot 4. Water flowing from his fingers. There are multiple reports of water miraculously flowing from the Prophet's fingers to quench the thirst of his companions or provide water for them to perform ablution. On one occasion, during a military expedition, his companions ran out of water, and the Prophet placed his hand in a container of water causing water to flow from between his fingers so that everyone could drink and perform ablution. Miraculous aspect. This miracle showcases divine intervention in a time of need and highlights the prophet's special connection with God. The ability to produce water, a vital resource, was seen as a powerful, life-saving miracle. 5. The multiplication of food. There are several instances where Prophet Muhammad was able to miraculously multiply food to feed large groups of people. For example, during the Battle of the Trench, his companions were struggling with hunger. When a small amount of food was brought to the Prophet, he placed his hands over it, prayed, and then distributed it. The small meal ended up feeding the entire group of companions. Miraculous aspect. The ability to increase food miraculously, especially in times of hardship, was seen as divine support for the Prophet and his community, demonstrating God's power to provide sustenance. 6. The tree that moved to him. One reported miracle is the incident where a tree moved toward Prophet Muhammad to provide him shade. According to the story, a Bedouin man challenged the Prophet to prove his prophethood by calling a tree to come to him. When the Prophet called the tree, it uprooted itself and came toward him, then returned to its place. Miraculous aspect. The obedience of inanimate objects, such as trees, to the Prophet's command is viewed as a sign of his connection to divine power and proof of his prophethood. 7. Healing the sick. There are various reports of Prophet Muhammad healing people through his prayers or touch. For example, during the Battle of Khaybar, one of his companions, Ali, had severe eye pain. The Prophet applied his saliva to Ali's eyes, and they were miraculously healed, allowing him to continue fighting. Miraculous
Wow, I did not know that information.
Not at all.
I didn't know that, Kelly. That was a bad boy, man, back then. If you was doing all that, trees moving, healing. I mean, I didn't know that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was doing all that.
I didn't know
really
he
didn't
did
know
these type of miracles. No idea.
Why doesn't anyone talk about that? I mean, I'm sure people do, but I mean, that's
Even
like,
this deep into our research. This is our first time hearing these things. Crazy.
physically healing people, the moon splitting in half. I mean, that is just spectacular right there. And that's the kind of stuff that people need to hear. Even the Quran itself, just Quran miracles, and then flowing water, multiplying food, because, you know, having water from your hand just coming out, being able to multiply food, that sounds like something straight up out of like a Dolores Cannon book where she does the past life regressions. It said the people back, there are certain people that could bring certain, you know, food, like manna kind of things to people.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that's very interesting.
And healings.
Exactly. Healings, all of that. That is very, very interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, that he was doing all of that.
Absolutely not.
We're going to have to dive even deeper into that, because as you saw, ChatGPT started glitching, doing weird stuff at the end. It was like almost like too much power coming through the phone whenever they started talking about the miracles. You know what I mean? That's just how it is sometimes. We see kind of glitches like that. So,
it's
you
real.
know, we're so happy and grateful to be doing this and spreading this word and this information to different people, and hopefully bringing people to God